Are you there, guys? Welcome to this session on 19th century American literature. Welcome. It is almost the end of the year. Good evening. How was your year? Tell me. Because of our YouTube live, did you have a wonderful year? Did our YouTube sessions help you? If they helped you one year, they will help you every year. Talk to me. I am waiting to hear from you. Today we have a lot of questions from 19th century American literature. You are ready for them? I have put some questions from before that also. Okay. Ye bolo. What was the name given to a group of 19th century American poets associated with New England and also known as the schoolroom or household poets? Schoolroom or household poets bolo. Also known as schoolroom or household poets. Thank you, Rajankar, Preeti. Yes, guys, many of you are telling me the correct answer. It is indeed fireside poets. 19th century American poets associated with New England, also known as schoolroom or household poets. Yes, they are also called fireside poets. Very good. Welcome to this session, everybody. Let us have a blast. Which American poet, according to the English novelist D.H. Lawrence, was the first to smash the old moral conception that the soul of man is something superior above the flesh? D.H. Lawrence it is. D.H. Lawrence wrote about which American poet? D.H. Lawrence wrote a critical work on this American poet. D.H. Lawrence was closely associated with this poet. Tell me, who is the poet? I am waiting to hear from you. It is Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman, correct. Walt Whitman and D.H. Lawrence both talked about the origins of man, the primeval nature of man, the connection with land. It is Walt Whitman. D.H. Lawrence wrote a book on Hardy, also a book on Whitman. Will you remember? D.H. Lawrence and Whitman, D.H. Lawrence and Hardy, both connected. Next question. Which American romantic poet wrote the famous poem Thanatopsis? Which American romantic... Oh, okay, you can't see. Okay, guys, give me 1 second. मैं करती हूँ 1 minute. मिनट दो मुझे. I will just increase font size. अभी ठीक है? Better now? Can you see? Yes. I have to start from the beginning because I will just mark fireside poets, then Walt Whitman, Which American romantic poet wrote Thanatopsis? Bolo bolo. It is William Cullen Bryant, as many of you are saying. William Cullen Bryant is correct. Which American poet and educator wrote Paul Revere's Ride and was the first American to translate Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy? Paul Revere's Ride, H.W. Longfellow. H.W. Longfellow. Who praised William Cullen Bryant and his poem June in his essay The Poetic Principle? Tell me who wrote the essay The Poetic Principle. It is, of course, Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe wrote the essay The Poetic Principle. Which among the following was the original name of Mark Twain? The original name of Mark Twain. I am sure all of you know. It is Samuel Langhorne Clemens. Mark Twain's original name is Samuel Langhorne Clemens. Mark Twain, his name was based on what? His sea voyage, his sailor life, which is a realist novel by William Dean Howells. William Dean Howells, published in 1885. Realist novel by William Dean Howells. It is The Rise of Silas Lapham. The Rise of Silas Lapham. Then, which American novelist was notable for his realistic portrayals of Creole life? Which American novelist made realist portrayals of Creole life? He is called the first modern Southern writer. First modern Southern writer. Have you heard of George Cable? George Cable, have you heard? It is the answer. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Please like the video. Which American short story writer was better known by his pen name, O. Henry? Which American short story writer was better known by his pen name, O. Henry? Guys, will you please share this video in your groups? Will you please share this video in your groups? It is William Sidney Porter. William Sidney Porter. Which novel by Henry James tells the story of Milly Theale, an American heiress, stricken with a serious disease, and her effect on the people around her? Bolo. Henry James's novel telling the story of Milly Theale, an American heiress. It is The Wings of the Dove. The Wings of the Dove. Who is the author of the utopian novel Looking Backward, 2000 to 1887? Looking Backward, 2000 to 1887. Did you know somebody wrote a novel called Looking Backward? It is Edward Bellamy. When you hear a name that you don't know, remember to look it up. Edward Bellamy. Who wrote McTeague, that tells the story of a couple's courtship and marriage, their subsequent descent into poverty and violence? I will give you a clue, guys. He is a naturalist novel. He is a naturalist novel. So who is it? McTeague. It is Frank Norris. Frank Norris. Who is the protagonist or the lady of the novel, The Portrait of a Lady? Who is the protagonist of The Portrait of a Lady? You know that one. That is easy. She is the woman who values independence, but she gets married and finds that that was a mistake. That was a mistake. It is Isabel Archer. Very good. Isabel Archer. Thank you for saying the correct answers. In O. Henry's The Gift of the Magi, who discovers that she has only $1.87, $1.87 to buy a present for her husband Jim? What is the name of the protagonist? The woman. She is... What is it? I just asked Ulta, this question Ulta in Unacademy. It is Della Young. Della Young. The Gift of the Magi by O. Henry. Did you like the questions, guys? Now, which novella by Henry James portrays the courtship of a beautiful American girl by Winterbourne, European, a British man? Winterbourne is courting an American girl. You know, American culture against European culture. That was the theme in Henry James's novels. American culture versus European culture. It is in Henry James's Daisy Miller. Daisy Miller. That is right. What is the setting of The Red Badge of Courage by Stephen Crane? In Stephen Crane's Red Badge of Courage, Private Henry Fleming longs for a wound. Private Henry Fleming longs for a wound. In which novel? It is the novel American Civil War. American Civil War was from which year to which year? American Civil War was from 1861 to 1865. 1861 to 1865, American Civil War. Which anti-slavery novel by Harriet Beecher Stowe opens with a Kentucky farmer named Arthur Shelby facing the loss of his farm because of debts? Kentucky farmer Arthur Shelby. Later, the novel moves to New Orleans, then Louisiana. It is all in Uncle Tom's Cabin. Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe, of course. The title, Twice Told Tales. It is a short story collection in 2 volumes by Nathaniel Hawthorne. It was based on a line from William Shakespeare's Dash. Twice Told Tales. Title by Nathaniel Hawthorne. Arey Navneet, ऐसे compare मत करो ना. Very soon you will also be saying correct. From which play by Shakespeare is Nathaniel Hawthorne's Twice Told Tales taking its title? It's King John. King John. Who is the author of the 1893 novella Maggie, a Girl of the Streets? Maggie, a Girl of the Streets. Bolo. Maggie, a Girl of the Streets is in which novella? Is written by which writer? Guys, please reminding you to like the video, guys. Will you please like the video, everybody? Yes. Maggie, a Girl of the Streets is by Stephen Crane. Maggie, a Girl of the Streets is by Stephen Crane. Okay, guys. What is the subtitle of Herman Melville's Moby Dick? Subtitle of Herman Melville's Moby Dick. Bolo? It is The Whale. Herman Melville's Moby Dick is subtitled The Whale. The Whale. Then next question. Name the short novel in which Herman Melville dramatizes the conflicting claims of duty and compassion on board a ship in times of war through the story of a handsome sailor who strikes and inadvertently kills his false accuser, Master-at-Arms John Claggart. Very famous novel that is prescribed in universities. Do you know? John Claggart character in John Claggart. Sailor, it is Billy Budd. Billy Budd, sailor, prescribed in universities. Which short story by Edgar Allan Poe has been described as the first modern detective story? That is easy, isn't it? You know that, don't you? Bolo, first detective story. Poe referred to it as one of his tales of ratiocination. It is the murders in the Rue Morgue. Remember, Edgar Allan Poe was a very early detective writer. He initiated detective fiction. Which American writer was also an abolitionist, an advocate for women's rights, and wrote The Doctrine and Discipline of Human Culture. Wow. The Doctrine and Discipline of Human Culture. Navneet, she is answering because she has been studying for a long time. She has been studying for a long time. You will also be able to answer everything. American writer who was an abolitionist, an advocate for women's rights. And he was I will give you a clue. He was the father of Louisa May Alcott. Amos Bronson Alcott. Amos Bronson Alcott. Yes, Ankita. The detective novel Murders in the Rue Morgue has Gothic elements. Remember, guys, Amos Bronson Alcott wrote The Doctrine and Discipline of Human Culture. Which women's rights advocate associated with the American Transcendentalism movement wrote Woman in the 19th Century? Woman in the 19th Century, written by Margaret Fuller. Margaret Fuller. Who is she? She is a part of the Transcendentalist movement. Transcendentalist movement. Which among the following is not a character in Little Women? Who among the following? Sorry, guys. Who among the following is not a character in Little Women? Meg and Joe are famous. Beth also. Plum is not there. Little Women movie, did you watch? It was there in Netflix. Louisa May Alcott, who is she? Amos Bronson Alcott's daughter. What was the assumed name adopted by Edgar Allan Poe when he published his first collection, Tamerlane and Other Poems? Assumed name adopted by Edgar Allan Poe. He called himself a Bostonian. A Bostonian. What is the subtitle of the Scarlet Letter? That is easy. Subtitle of the Scarlet Letter, a romance. The Scarlet Letter, a romance. Did you like the quizzes, guys? Which book by Henry David Thoreau is subtitled Life in the Woods and is a reflection upon simple living in natural surroundings? Easy. Life in the Woods is Walden. Everybody is saying it right. Life in the Woods is Walden. Henry David Thoreau lived there for 2 years, 2 months, 2 days. Henna? Which American short story writer is best known for his short stories Rip Van Winkle, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow? It is Washington Irving. Washington Irving. Who is the fictional character and the protagonist of James Fenimore Cooper's pentalogy of novels known as the Leatherstocking Tales? Actually, Deerslayer also is his name, but actual name is Natty Bumppo. Natty Bumppo, isn't it? Natty Bumppo. Who of the following made a famous address to the Harvard Divinity School? Harvard Divinity School. Who is famous for the address to the Harvard Divinity School? It is Ralph Waldo Emerson. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Then, who of the following used the pen name Silence Dogood? Silence Dogood. It is Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin. Then, Magnolia Christi Americana, or the Great American Works of Christ, is an encyclopedic work by Magnolia Christi Americana, or the Great American Works of Christ. It is by Cotton Mather. Cotton Mather. These are early writers, not 19th century. Which French theorist discussed the myth of America in the book America? Which French theorist discussed the book of America in the book America? Did you know it is Jean-François Baudrillard? Jean-François Baudrillard. Richard Hakluyt and Samuel Purchas discussed America in their Richard Hakluyt and Samuel Purchas discussed America in their travelogues. Both of them wrote travelogues. Will you remember? Who addressed his mistress as, "Oh, my America, my newfound land"? "Oh, my America, my newfound land." Who addressed? It is John Donne in Meditation number 17, where he compares fondling his mistress in bed to exploration of America. The Massachussetts Bay Colony, established in 1630 under the leadership of John Winthrop, became dash. The Massachussetts Bay Colony, which was established under the leadership of John Winthrop, became dash. It became Boston. Massachusetts Bay Colony is Boston. Who of these early writers wrote a famous diary? Who wrote a diary? The Diary of Cotton Mather is famous. The Diary of Cotton Mather. The Puritans wrote Jeremiads in the 17th century. What is a Jeremiad? What is a Jeremiad? A Jeremiad means a poem of lamentation, a book of lamentation. Mournful lamentation. Will you remember? What is the main theme of Benjamin Franklin's famous autobiography? Is it his struggles with adolescent temptations? Is it moral education? Is it his political awakening and involvement in the Revolutionary War? Is it accounts of many personalities who influenced him? It is his moral education. Benjamin Franklin wrote about his moral education in his biography. Will you remember, guys, how he developed moral values? Who declared, "The world is my country, all mankind are my brethren, and to do good is my religion"? It is Thomas Paine. I think it is in Common Sense he wrote this. Thomas Paine. Will you remember? Then, Thomas Paine's book, The American Crisis, is a collection of how many essays? How many essays? It is 16 essays. 16 essays, The American Crisis. Where did Thomas Paine argue? Every age and generation must be free to act for itself in all cases as the age and generation which preceded it. Array 60 and 100 will not be there. Who will write 100 essays in one book? Tell me. It is in the book Rights of Man. He said this in Rights of Man. Then, in which year was the Treaty of Paris that led to the emergence of the United States? In which year was the Treaty of Paris which led to the emergence of the United States? 1783. 1783. The first American novel to sell more than 1 million copies is? The first American novel to sell more than 1 million copies. Do you have any idea? It is the Wide, Wide World by Susan Warren. The Wide, Wide World by Susan Warren. Which of these writers was associated with Washington Irving's Knickerbocker School? Which of these writers was associated with? Did you know Washington Irving had a Knickerbocker School? It is Lydia Maria Child. Lydia Maria Child. Will you remember, guys? Who of the following immigrated to England? It is definitely not Thomas Paine, because Thomas Paine was sentenced to death in England. If he went there, he will be killed. Benjamin Franklin, no way. It is Washington Irving. Benjamin Franklin was 100% American. It is Washington Irving who immigrated to England, and Washington Irving was associated with Walter Scott. Both of them wrote in a similar manner. The first American novel is considered to be The Power of Sympathy. Who is the author? The Power of Sympathy. The Power of Sympathy is by William Hill Brown. William Hill Brown, first American novel. Okay. Captain John Farrago is a Don Quixote-like character created by the 18th century writer Captain John Farrago is a Don Quixote-like character created by which writer? It is Hugh Henry Brackenridge. Hugh Henry Brackenridge. And Charles Brockden Brown wrote novels like Wieland, Ormond, Arthur Mervyn. These belong to the genre. Which genre? These novels belong to which genre? These novels belong to Gothic fiction. Gothic fiction. He was influenced by William Godwin's Caleb Williams. He was influenced by William Godwin's Caleb Williams. Did you understand? It is okay. It is okay. Now you are learning. Now you will know. So we have done 50 questions, guys. 50 questions. And I'm stopping today with 50 questions. Please read extra about all these topics, all these authors. And you will be amazing scholars. Have a wonderful night. See you tomorrow. All the best. Shall I end now? Bye-bye. You can get the PDF from our Telegram group. WhatsApp me for the Telegram link. Will you WhatsApp me, please, for the Telegram link? I guess you are all there in the Telegram group, right?